Hello and welcome to this instructional video on prismatic machining. In the previous video we looked at how one goes about setting up manufacturing programs, and also how to go about saving files. In this video we're going to go ahead and define information in the setup, which is really important. The information that one needs to define are things like the machine you're going to use, the coordinate systems, and so on. So what we're going to do is start by opening up the part that you saved at the end of the last video. So let's go to Open, and I'm going to navigate to that folder. You should navigate to the one where you saved it. And in this case I'm going to open directly the process file that I saved. So in this case, example PM process 1, I'm going to open this up. And what you can see is that the process has been opened, but also all the geometry that's tied into it. So everything that was created previously is loaded in. It's associative, which is typically how CATIA works. Things that are linked in remain linked in. If we look at the process branch, we see that we have setup 1 and setup 2, which we added in the previous video, in one of the previous videos. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and define the information that's needed in the setup. And to do this, what we do is we double click on the setup. So if I double click on setup 1, a dialog window pops up, which has a bunch of buttons on the left hand side, and these define things that need to be defined so that the setup information is all clearly in place. Now before we do this, we should think a little bit about how this part is set up on the machine. So we have the compass up here, which shows the coordinate system of the assembly. I'm going to go down here to my view toolbar, and I'm going to put the display into top view. And what this shows you is the view of the part as you would be looking down on the machine tool table. So as the operator, you'd be standing on this side of the vise. This is where the handle is of the vise to clamp the part. And if you look at the coordinate system here, your x-axis of the machine is to the right, your y-axis is towards the column of the machine, and then the z-axis is coming out of the page. So it's important to have that set up, because one of the things you're going to have to do here when you define the setup is to define your machining coordinate system. And if you look at the buttons here, the first button is defining the machine. The second one is defining the machining axis system, or the machining coordinate system that we're going to use to generate the programs. So I'm going to go ahead actually and do that first before I define the machine. And if you recall, one of the conventions that we're using in this class is to place the coordinate system on the top right hand corner of the stock, if there is a clear top right hand corner, which there is in this case, this point here. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift the machining coordinate system. Notice that there's this green coordinate system down here, and this currently is the default coordinate system that CATIA has created when the process file was created. We want to move this coordinate system from this location here to the top right hand corner. So let's go ahead and click on this button, the second button down, and this dialog window here shows you a depiction of the coordinate system. Notice if you move your mouse over the red areas, they turn orange, and this indicates that they are pickable. So the first thing that you should do, notice that there is a dot here which defines the origin of the coordinate system. There are also two arrows, one indicating the x-axis and one indicating the z-axis. So between these 3 or 4 pickable regions, one can position the coordinate system and orient it the way you want to. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the little dot, and then we're going to pick this corner up here. So move the mouse over it till the hand with the finger appears, and then click down. And notice now that the coordinate system has shifted so that its origin is the top right hand corner. And also notice too that the image on the dialog window has changed to green, meaning that the coordinate system has now been properly set up. Now in this case, if we look at the directions of the arrows of the coordinate system, they actually appear to be, I actually put the coordinate system in the wrong corner. Actually, I meant to put it up here. So I'm going to reposition it. So I'm going to click on the dot again and put it up here. So top right hand corner, I got the bottom right hand corner. Now we actually lucked out in the sense that the x-axis, you can see the x-axis pointing in this direction, it actually lines up with the x-axis of our compass, which is the x-axis of our machine. And then the y-axis is also, of course, perpendicular to the x and also lines up with the axis of the machine. Now let's say for the sake of argument that did not happen. If we wanted to change the orientation of the axes, one way to do this is by clicking on one of these axis lines. So let's say we wanted to change the x-axis orientation. We'd click on this. And let's say I wanted the x-axis to be along this line instead of, in this case, it's along this line. I would select this edge. Notice now that the x-axis is pointing this way. I can reverse the direction if I want to. And if I hit OK, the x-axis is pointing this way. Now you don't actually see it. It looks like it's still this way. But if I hit OK, notice now that it shifts the x-axis this way. But of course we don't want it this way. We want it this way. So I'm going to go back into the axis definition tool, click on this, and then I'm going to click on this, and then just make sure it's pointing in the right direction this way, and then OK. So now I've set up my coordinate system for the setup.